Hey everyone, Richard Wilson here from the Family Office Club. Just wanted to record this video because I hear from a lot of people that some of you are frustrated with how long it takes to work with ultra wealthy families. They might want to get to know you a bit, obviously, before investing $5 or $10 million into your company or investment deal. And while this can be true, family offices and ultra wealthy investors can sometimes move faster than anyone else. We've had a meeting go well at one of our investor club events, and the chief investment officer at the family office called the 100 million net worth plus client and told them to turn their private jet around and come back to New York City for a meeting. And they did so, and they were able to close a deal quickly. The bottom line here, though, is that you're not going to be able to get a $5 million or $20 million allocation from an institution in just 4 weeks, or in not even within a 2 or 3 month process typically. And we've seen some family offices move very quickly and close deals within days or weeks. But at other times, you might have to get them to know get to know you over a decade to do a lot of business with them. So there's a lot of examples of this and how long different deals can take. I'm going to run through a couple here real quick. Recently, we closed a investment into a medical practice. We had 2 Zoom calls, 4 emails, and it took about 3 months after the first conversation until that deal was closed for $300,000. We also recently closed a second investment with a shark from Shark Tank. We've worked together with them for 3 years. We've just gotten those 2 deals done. The first deal is in 2020, next one 2021. This deal took 23 emails and 3 Zoom calls to finalize. We also have had a family office from Europe invest in our investorresidences.com platform after just 1 phone call and 2 email exchanges. They'd already been familiar with our team though and our work, and they were comfortable with us. So things moved forward in just about 10 days. Recently, we met a 100 million plus net worth family. It took us 7 years to close our first deal. Subsequently, to date, we now have $900 million in term sheets and JV commitments with them now. So it took a long time, but a lot of large commitments. Another investor, $500 million net worth. We have met this person 8 times, been to their home, structured a deal that went sideways with them because the counterparty's CFO said something bad over the phone. We spent time with their team in person, had dozens of emails with them, dozens of phone calls, flew out to see just them several times. We've seen 30 deals together. And so far, we've not gotten a single deal together in 7 years. They did put us on retainer for over a year to help structure their family office, but no deals done. We expect to in the future. But again, we've known them now for 7 years. Another example is that we have a $250 million net worth family that's invested in deals with us. They just took 3 weeks to review a deal. They put in $250,000 for a total of $500,000 invested into that one company. They already had a relationship in place with us. They could move relatively quickly, both with us and on that deal. They were familiar with the company already. Overall, we've interacted with thousands of investors over the last 14 years, and many of them have never signed an agreement, never invested, never took the time to do any business with us because they're just coming to a conference or coming to a webinar, et cetera. But we know many of these will come around over the next 14 years and do so, and some won't. I think in this industry, you have to think about 5 and 10-year segments out and build long-term relationships, and just know that some are going to take many years to come through and some will move fast. If you don't have that mindset, I don't think you're going to do well in this industry. If you're looking to retire or just raise capital one time and get out, then maybe don't look for family office capital, or maybe you're not the right person to be raising the capital or working with investors at all. We had one member of the Family Office Club cold call and reach out for meetings to hundreds of investors over a period of 3 years, and they closed 2 checks for $8 million and $40 million each. I like sharing this example because the equivalent of raising 8 million plus 40 million, a total of 48 million, would be closing 480 investors over those 3 years for $100,000 each. So you can ask yourself, oh man, it took 3 years to close 2 investors. Yeah, but, or you could spend 3 years coordinating 480 investment checks coming in for 100,000 each and having to get all those wire transfers back out and all those relationships grown and all those lunch meetings and phone calls. So it's good to think of layering on top of the private investor channel you're working through a family office channel, and just knowing that some of it's going to take some patience and some, might move quickly. The other thing I want to mention is that we recently completed an acquisition of billionaires.com. This took us 72 emails and 12 years to come to fruition, not for the raising of capital, but just the negotiation of the deal. We finally got it done because we realized if we didn't get it done soon, someone else would. And we believe that with inflation and the drive to more online commerce, that billionaires.com is really valuable turf to occupy long-term. So we finally forced it to a conclusion, but it took us over a decade to get that done. We also recently closed a equity JV term sheet in early 2020, and it took 4 months, 20 emails, and several Zoom calls. But now this group that we got a co-GP structure behind has grown from 30 million in assets to 120 million in assets, and now they're selling a $100 million portfolio. The last example I want to give is a member who came to our investment club. They had never raised capital before. They went out and were struggling on the $3 million worth of their first capital raise. We got on the phone with them, gave them some feedback. They came to some of our workshops. They ended up raising $40 million on that deal, and they sold it 2 months ago for $120 million. So I wanted to share all those examples to be really transparent with the fact that, yes, if you want to raise 1 million, 3 million, $5 million checks, it might take a lot of time, it might take a lot of follow-up, a lot of trust building, just as it would with you if you're the one allocating 7 figures into something. But it can be very much worth it. And it can be worth it to plant those seeds, develop those relationships, and understand the family office market while you're also perhaps still raising capital from private investors. You want to plant the seeds before you need to harvest the crop. So get ahead on the curve on that and learn what structures they like, what structures, where they operate, how to communicate with them, what turns them off, and how to really be more efficient and more effective than you would otherwise if you didn't have that knowledge and you just simply went based off of the 3 or 5 or 40 meetings you had per year, but you weren't involved in something like the Family Office Club. So I hope you got value from this short video. I hope you get value by coming to our fast-moving investor relations workshops throughout the year. If you're not already a charter member, please join the 1,000 plus other subscribers who are happy with their membership and enjoying being part of our peer-to-peer community. Please go to familyoffices.com. It's familyoffices.com and become a charter member in the Family Office Club today. Thank you, and I'll see you at a live event soon.